A very good evening and welcome to a brand new edition of News First Weekend with stories from local, international and sporting arenas. I'm Arundhati Mudannayak. Let's start off with a look at the stories making headlines this evening.
Sri Lanka Freedom Party joins the national government. 26 new ministerial appointments. Various views expressed on the national government.
එකතු වෙන්න කතා කරන්නේ මොකටද? හොරකම් කරපු කට්ටියගේ හොරකම් නවත්ත ගන්නයි. ඒව වහ ගන්නයි.
මේ ආපානට සම්බන්ධ නොවුනොත් ඒගොල්ලන් දේශපාලන අනාගතයක් නැහැ.
Sanath Fonseca becomes Sri Lanka's first field marshal. No schools for 500 children in the Western Province. Tense situation at a school big match. 6 injured, 1 critical.
A group of SLFP parliamentarians took oaths as cabinet ministers, ministers of state and deputy ministers before President Maithripala Sirisena today. The new appointments swells the number of cabinet ministers alone to 39.
The new ministers took oath today at the Presidential Secretariat. 11 cabinet ministers, 5 ministers of state and 10 deputy ministers were sworn in. A.H.M. Fauzi took oath as the Minister of Disaster Management. Also joining the cabinet today were S.B. Navinna as the Minister of Labour, S.P. Dissanayaka as the Minister of Rural Economic Affairs, Janaka Bandara Thenakon, Minister of Provincial Councils and Local Development, Felix Pereira, Minister of Special Projects, Mahinda Apabe Wardana, Minister of Parliamentary Affairs, Reginald Kore, Minister of Aviation Services, Mahinda Amaravira, Minister of Fisheries, Vijit Vijayamuni Zoisa, Minister of Irrigation, Dr. Sarath Amunugama, Minister of Higher Education and Research, and Piyasena Gamage, Minister of Vocational and Technical Training. 5 state ministers were also sworn in. They are Pavitra Vani Arachi, State Minister of Environment, Jivan Kumar Ranatunga, State Minister of Labour, Mahinda Samarasinghe, State Minister of Finance, C.B. Ratnayaka, State Minister of Public Administration and Democratic Governance, and Dilan Pereira, State Minister of Housing and Samurdhi. The 10 new deputy ministers are Tissa Karliyada, Deputy Minister of Buddha Sasana and Democratic Governance, Daswita Tissera, Deputy Minister of Fisheries, Ranjit Siambala Pitya, Deputy Minister of Home Affairs, Lakshman Senivaratna, Deputy Minister of Disaster Management, Lakshman Yapape Wardana, Deputy Minister of Aviation Services, Lalit Dissanayaka, Deputy Minister of Irrigation, Jagat Pushpakumara, Deputy Minister of Plantation Industries, Lasanta Alagiawanna, Deputy Minister of Rural Economic Affairs. Shanta Bandara took oaths as the Deputy Minister of Mass Media, while Sudashani Fernanda Pulle took oaths as the Deputy Minister of Higher Education and Research.
The creation of a national government was heavily criticized at opposition media briefings held today.
Why are they speaking about forming a national government? Why are they trying to band together? They are banding together to stop the thievery of those who used to thieve and to cover it up and to create space for a new bunch of thieves. Let the thieves take up lodging together. It does not matter to us, but there needs to be politics for the people. There needs to be a parliament of the people. The people need a powerful political force to stand against the thieves. What has happened through conferring ministerial positions on these people is that President Maithripala Sirisena has turned the Sri Lanka Freedom Party into the tail of the United National Party government. This is a shocking act by the SLFP. They are holding on to the position of opposition leader as well. So how can the opposition leader reprimand the government? It is like standing before a mirror and scolding yourself. The president is from their party. 20 to 30 to 40 ministers are from their party. So how can they criticize the government? This is the major change they spoke of. We can clearly see that the raiment of good governance has been stripped.
Mayor of Karuwela G.H. Buddhadasa says that the general public are among those who are criticizing the concept of a national government.
This is the beginning of a national government. The people of this country voted for President Maithripala Sirisena to chase away the thieves in the previous government and take this country forward in terms of development. The fact that President Sirisena did not take thieves like Vimal Veerawansa to the cabinet is, as I see it, one of the greatest acts by the president, because he is trying to put Mahinda Rajapaksa in trouble as well. It was people like Vimal Veerawansa who reduced the votes of Mahinda Rajapaksa by speaking in an unlawful manner at meetings. Today they are left with nowhere to go. They have been humbled. Vimal Veerawansa and Udaya Gamanapilla are people who have been rejected by the people. I hope and pray that those ministers who are appointed today work together and build this country.
At an event held in Arudgama today, Minister Rajita Senaratne explained the intentions of forming the new cabinet.
Today, a historic decision has been made in Sri Lanka's history. It marks the first time that the UNP and SLFP will sit together in a national government. No one can remove themselves from this good governance. They know that if they do not join good governance, they have no political future. Above the cabinet of ministers, there is the National Executive Council. That is where all political decisions are made. So the Tamil political party and the Janata Vimukti Peramuna too are connected with this government on a certain level. This is a comprehensive national government. A single program is being followed. We will fulfill these tasks and go in for an election. At the election, we will contest separately, but we will return to sit together in the national government.
Sarath Fonseca became Sri Lanka's first Field Marshal today. The investiture was held this afternoon under the auspices of President Maithripala Sirisena.
The investiture ceremony was held at the Ministry of Defence this afternoon. The ceremony commenced with the arrival of the heads of the armed forces. General Sarath Fonseca, who led the army in bringing an end to the 30-year-long conflict, then arrived at the ceremony. President Maithripala Sirisena, the Commander-in-Chief of the Security Forces, arrived at the ceremony following the arrival of the Chief Justice and the Prime Minister. Following salutations to the President, General Sarath Fonseca approached the podium. The Secretary of Defence read out the accomplishments of General Sarath Fonseca to warrant his being elevated to the rank of Field Marshal.
CGS PhD Field Marshal Gauravaniya Nilaya Meshe Pradhaniya Karami.
President Maithripala Sirisena then presented the Field Marshal's baton to General Sarath Fonseca. Following the event, the standard of the Field Marshal was raised in Sri Lanka for the first time.
And now, His Excellency the President.
"6 years ago, we were able to, through the sacrifices of many lives, to end the war and bring peace to the island. Just as President Mahinda Rajapaksa and the then government provided political leadership in bringing peace to the country, militarily, the Army, Navy and Air Force, the Police and Civil Defence Force made great sacrifices to defeat the terrorists. Under the leadership of Sarath Fonseca, who has been elevated to the rank of Field Marshal today, the Sri Lanka Army and the armed forces were able to face battle and claim an exceptional victory.
Following the President's address, the investiture concluded with a guard of honour accorded to the President.
மார்ஷல் என்ற பதவி வழங்கும் சிறப்பு நிகழ்வோடு இணைந்து கொண்ட அனைவருக்கும் நம்முடைய நன்றிகளை தெரிவித்துக் கொண்டு விடைபெறுகின்றோம்.
Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca departed the investiture ceremony in an open vehicle amid the salutations of members of the tri-forces. The position of Field Marshal is the highest position in an army, and a person elevated to the rank remains in active military service for life. As a field marshal, he will remain in active military service for the rest of his life and enjoy powers and privileges equivalent to a cabinet minister of the government of Sri Lanka. All field marshals carry a baton in their left hand, a symbol of their high position. Sarath Fonseca joined the Ceylon Army on the 5th of February 1970 as a cadet officer, and after completing his officer training at the Army Training Centre was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the 1st Battalion of the Ceylon Singha Regiment. He went on to hold several commands and staff appointments. Sarath Fonseca served as a battalion commander, brigade commander, General Officer Commanding of the 57th Division, Commander Security Forces Headquarters, Jaffna, and Chief of Staff of the Sri Lanka Army before he was appointed Commander of the Army on the 6th of December 2005. Following his appointment as the Commander of the Army, then Lieutenant General Sarath Fonseca went on to implement many reforms. On the 25th of April 2006, Fonseca was targeted by an LTTE suicide bomber. Although seriously injured in the explosion, Fonseca, who was no stranger to battle wounds, returned to active service following a quick recovery. As the army commander, he took the fore in cornering the LTTE from Mavilaru to Nandikadal and eventually accomplished the end goal with a complete victory. Following the war victory, the commander, who was among the heroes who made immense sacrifices to liberate the nation from the clutches of terrorism, was elevated to the rank of general. He was then appointed as the Chief of Defence Staff. An active participant in military operations including Balavegaya, Jayasikuru and Rivirasa, Fonseca received many medals in appreciation of his unwavering service. He is a recipient of the prestigious Rana Vikrama Padakkama, the Rana Shura Padakkama, the Vishishta Seva Vibhushana, the Uttama Seva Padakkama and the Deshaputra Padakkama. After a military career spanning more than 30 years, Fonseca retired from service, having ridden the country of the terrorism which had afflicted it throughout almost his entire career.
The Voice Against Corruption organization says there are signs that investigations into complaints filed over corruption in the construction of expressways are being suppressed.
At a trade union meeting held in Katunayaka today, the convener of the Voice Against Corruption movement claimed that investigations into alleged corruption in the construction of expressways had become stagnant.
We made several complaints regarding corruption in the construction of expressways. We said clearly that when Ranil Wickremesinghe went to meet Mahinda Rajapaksa on the 9th of January, Thiru Nadesan was there. Thiru Nadesan is Nirupama Rajapaksa's husband. He was the main broker in the deal struck for the expressways. That was Prabhat Nanayakara, Thiru Nadesan and Dilshan Wickremesinghe. He is the son of the chairman. He purchased a plot of land belonging to the Norwegian embassy on Horton Place. When we furnished information regarding these highways, we also spoke about the money that had been stolen together with the brokers.
Vasanta Samarasinghe claims that unexpected estimates were presented for each phase of construction of the expressways and that the brokers stole millions through this process.
When the road was extended from Pinnaduwa to Matara, Prabhat Nanayakara was involved. Then the road was extended to Kaduwela from Kottawa. Thiru Nadesan was involved in that. Each of the 9 kilometers from Kaduwela to Kadawatha cost 5.34 billion. The 8 kilometers from Kadawatha to Kerawalapitiya cost 7.14 billion per kilometer. There was serious fraud in this. They used to make $1 billion or $1.5 billion overnight. Construction contracts were unsolicited. If we examine their personal assets, the extent of the theft and corruption will be revealed.
We made inquiries from the Deputy Minister of Highways and Investment Promotion, Eran Wickramaratne, on whether the expressway projects would be halted given the situation. The Colombo Ring Road will be stopped. Preparations have been made for Phase 3. But when we examined it, it became clear to us that the cost was excessive. We will have to give fresh contracts for the construction of this expressway. A tender procedure or similar competitive procedure will be followed. At the same time, the previous government commenced work on a northern expressway. A plan has been made, but the construction was entrusted to contractors in 5 parts even before the plan was completed. It has been given to private companies in this country without following a competitive procedure.
The message that we have through the coming together of these governments and these parties is that investigations into the serious fraud and corruption that has occurred in expressway projects and other large-scale projects will be delayed further.
පරීක්ෂණ තමයි.
Investigations are underway to ascertain who is responsible. We must not forget that one cannot completely investigate fraud and corruption that occurred over 10 years within 100 days.
වංචා ක්‍රියාවල් හරිද සියල්ලක්ම දින 100න් හොයන්නට බෑ.
You're watching News First, and up next is a look at Action TV.
Although a common circular has been issued outlining the enrollment procedure for grade 1 at schools across the island, in many provinces, political interferences occurs in the admissions process. The most distasteful political interferences that have been witnessed have been in the Western Province. One of the reasons for this political interference is that many of the popular schools in the province come under the administration of the Provincial Council. During the admissions process in January last year, a Pradesh Sabha member forcefully enrolled 18 students who did not meet the prerequisites to Mahabodhi Vidyalaya in Henegama. While the Western Provincial Council was prorogued at the time when the new Provincial Council was elected, the arbitrary action of the Pradesh Sabha member was given a seal of approval when the Mahara Zonal Education Director, who opposed the forceful enrollments, was given a transfer. Last year, even the governor of the Western Province had to intervene in the matter of enrolling students for grade 1 since the Provincial Ministry of Education considered the enrolling of students as per a priority list as an election law violation. However, the governor ordered the Provincial Education Director to fill 426 vacancies at schools in the province in line with the priority list, having made a clarification to the Elections Commissioner as well. Nevertheless, the Provincial Education Director did not act on the instructions to enroll the 426 students as per the priority list. As such, politicians who had cemented their power in the Provincial Council once again took steps to enroll students as per their whim, casting the priority list and the governor's express orders into the dustbin. This year too, the new governor has intervened in the matter of the enrollment of students. On the 9th of February, the governor ordered the Chief Secretary of the province and the province's Acting Director of Education to grant all vacancies as per the priority list to students who have fulfilled their prerequisites. The Acting Education Director in turn took 13 days to inform the Zonal Education Directors of the governor's order. This is a letter addressed by the Acting Provincial Education Director containing the governor's order. None of the Zonal Education Directors have acted in line with the instructions spelled out in this letter. While there is just over a week left in the first term at public schools, the number of vacancies at schools in the Western Province exceeds 500. While an equal number of children have their names on the priority list, to this day, they are schoolless because of the addiction of the Acting Provincial Education Director and the Zonal Education Directors to disregard the priority list and instead follow the quotas of surreptitious local politicians. By failing to follow the circular for enrollment and a direct gubernatorial order, hasn't the Acting Provincial Education Director violated the fundamental right to education of hundreds of children? Governor of the Western Province, this is over to you.
Welcome back to the news. 6 people were injured, one of them critically following a brawl which broke out at an inter-school cricket match between 2 Colombo schools at the SSC. Now, police media spokesperson ASP Ruan Gunasekara said the riot police had been called in to disperse the brawlers. Speaking to Newsfirst, the director of the National Hospital, Dr. Anil Jasinghe, confirmed that 6 people had been admitted to the hospital. He noted that one of the injured was in critical condition. Police media spokesperson's office says the police have commenced investigations into an assault that had allegedly been carried out by former Minister Vinyagamurthy Muralidharan in Valachene. Accordingly, statements have been recorded from the victims and witnesses. A conflict over the ownership of a 13-acre plot of paddy land in Valachene had led to this attack. Vinyagamurthy Muralidharan alias Karuna had allegedly assaulted two individuals who worked at the paddy field.
After obtaining the money from our boss, we started cultivating this paddy field. Yesterday, the minister arrived at the land while we were working. He had a pistol in his possession. He attacked me and then ordered me to leave the location. Then I ran away. Then he said to tell our boss that if we worked in the paddy field, he would go to the owner's house and shoot.
It was revealed that the real owner of the paddy field is in hiding in Madale. This information came to light when he made a statement to the police today. The owner stated that the former minister is attempting to take hold of the land.
This is our land. He tried to chase us from the land on an earlier occasion as well. We lodged a complaint in this regard with the police in November. Still, there was no investigation. We have lodged another complaint.
According to the police media spokesperson's office, former Minister Vinyagamurthy Muralidharan had been informed to report to the Valachene police. A soldier has stabbed his mother-in-law to death and caused grievous injury to his wife.
The incident had occurred in Manningtown, Borala yesterday. The suspect's wife, who is also a lance corporal in the army, is currently being treated at the army hospital in Narayanpeta. Her mother, a 64-year-old from Polgoda Valagedera, was killed in the stabbing. The police noted that the suspect soldier has been taken into custody. Acting Army media spokesperson Brigadier Jayanath Jayavira added that a special investigation has been initiated on the orders of the Army Commander. The Army Commander has also issued orders to the regiment to which the suspect is attached to cooperate with the police investigation.
In business news this evening, Minister of Food Security Gamini Pereira says the government intends to break the monopoly of few rice mill owners.
Minister Gamini Pereira toured the Dambulla Special Economic Centre today. The most vulnerable person is the producer. These people were affected by the drought for 3 years. Then there were the floods and other problems. Therefore, our intention is to protect the producer. We have given a stipulated price for paddy. 90% of rice mills have been closed down. Only a few control this monopoly. In order to break this, the government is planning on giving bank loans to small rice mill owners. Previous loans will be halted temporarily.
Two Sri Lankans have been included among the umpires and match referees appointed for the semi-final matches of the 2015 Cricket World Cup.
The semi-final round will commence on Tuesday when New Zealand take on South Africa in Auckland. While David Boone has been named match referee, England's Ian Gold and Australia's Rod Tucker will be the on-field umpires. Australia will take on India in Sydney in the second semi-final. Former Sri Lankan Test cricketer Ranjan Madugalla has been named the match referee. Former Sri Lankan Test cricketer Kumar Dharmasena and England's Richard Kettleborough will be the on-field umpires.
The Clifford Cup is turning out to be a series of surprises or unfortunate events depending on which team you support and your perspective. Navy SC, the runners-up in the domestic rugby league, was stunned by underdogs Air Force SC today at the Racecourse grounds in Colombo. At full time, the Airmen led the Sailors 37-23. Air Force SC scored 4 tries, all of which were converted, and 3 penalties. Navy SC scored 2 tries, both duly converted, and 3 penalties. And with that, we wrap up tonight's edition of News First Weekend. Thank you very much for joining us. Have a great week ahead of you. Good night.